Once, discomfort was a stern tutor. It carved runes into bone and spirit, shaping wanderers into warriors. Now, it is feared like an assassin, as if a single moment of strain might slit the throat of fragile peace. Strange poetry lives in this collapse, a species born in frost and famine, tempered by plague and endless nights, now recoils at the faint sting of unmet desire. The trials that once honed sinew and will have been traded for illusions that soothe but never strengthen. Progress achieved what no tyrant ever could. It dulled the blade that once sculpted character. Make no mistake, comfort is not the enemy. It is a hearth in long winter. But when comfort is enthroned as meaning, the hearth becomes a pyre. Meaning rots quietly then, like a forgotten corpse beneath sacred roots. The roots drink decay and feed it back to the people. The smallest ache becomes despair. The slightest resistance is named oppression. A free folk forges its own chains, not of iron or law, but of softness so complete it becomes a spell. They wander unbound through an invisible labyrinth, trembling at phantoms of their own making. The old gods watch and see a truth colder than any winter. Those who fear discomfort will never touch greatness. Greatness is a mountain that answers only to blood, resolve, and the willingness to be cut by the wind. Nothing worthy is born from comfort's soft grip. The first tithe is always pain. You bleed so the path learns your name. You bleed so the world takes you seriously. Fire respects only those who have already burned. Fire is not a gift. It is a living thing, ancient, ill-tempered. It judges, it remembers, it devours pretenders. Come to it soft and untested, and it turns away like a disgusted god. So you press your palm to the whetstone of existence and let it take what it will. The storm must taste you. The void demands proof you are not another hollow pilgrim begging for warmth without paying the price. Blood marks you. It tells the road you are serious. It tells the old powers you are willing. It tells the fire you are not afraid to be remade. Every great myth begins with an offering. Flesh is the currency that forces destiny to open its eye. You do not bleed because you are weak. You bleed because the forge honors only metal that survives the hammer. And when the fire finally comes, it does not arrive as warmth. It comes as judgment, as recognition, as the thunderous acknowledgement that you have already burned, and are therefore worthy to burn brighter. That is the tenebrous truth wrapped in iron. The fire respects only those who already carry smoke in their lungs. Here are the 7 ruinous paths of comfort, properly named and properly flayed. 1. Dulling the blade. This is death by entertainment, by noise, by endless nibbling at stimulus so you never have to feel the edge. Distraction isn't rest, it's anesthesia. You numb yourself instead of submitting to the sting that would have corrected you. Every hour you flee discomfort, the blade loses bite. You wake up one day shocked that nothing cuts anymore, not realizing you filed yourself down willingly. Indulgence past necessity doesn't relax you. It eats the temper out of the steel. 2. Letting the body rust. The body is the first throne you abandon. Skip the strain today, excuse it tomorrow, forget it next week. Strength leaks out quietly. No alarms, no ceremony, just a gradual surrender of capacity. A man who avoids sweat is rehearsing helplessness. Once dangerous bodies don't collapse in battle. They decay on couches, telling stories about who they used to be. Tomorrow is the graveyard where physical authority is buried without witnesses. 3. Wearing masks to speak. You start editing yourself for comfort, softening edges, saying what lands instead of what's true. The voice adapts faster than you think. It forgets its own weight. Eventually, when truth is required, nothing comes out but borrowed language and safe sounds. This is how men become ventriloquists for consensus. Every lie swallowed doesn't just corrupt speech. It erodes self-recognition. You stop trusting your own throat. 4. Blaming the world for your bent spine. This is the luxury of refusal. You hand responsibility outward because carrying it hurts. Parents, partners, systems, fate. Anything but you. Accountability burns because it forges. Avoid it long enough and you become freight, not a driver. Life happens to you. Decisions are made around you. A man without accountability doesn't suffer injustice. He volunteers for irrelevance. 5. Slavery to impulse. Desire is not evil, it's feral. Left unchecked, it eats the handler. You chase feeling to feeling, appetite to appetite, mistaking movement for progress. Pleasure stops serving and starts hunting. You think you're free because nothing restrains you, not realizing command has already slipped. Impulse-driven men aren't wild. They're predictable, easily steered, easily drained. Ash piles up fast when every flame looks sacred. 6. Taking what you haven't earned. Shortcuts rot foundations, always. You step on weaker ground. Justify it with necessity. Tell yourself everyone does it. The structure rises fast and collapses faster. Theft isn't just material. It's credit you didn't earn, respect you bullied, position you gamed. Legacies built this way don't fade quietly. They implode, loud, public, humiliating. The bill always comes with interest and teeth. 7. Letting time pass without vow. This is the most common ruin because it feels harmless. No oath, no line drawn, days blur. Intentions stay theoretical. You remain becoming forever. Time doesn't argue. It erases. Men who don't bind themselves to purpose leave no tracks. When the tide comes in, there's nothing to prove they were ever moving with intent. Potential without vow is just delay, wearing a flattering mask. That's the anatomy of comfort's corruption. No demons, no conspiracies. Just slow surrender, disguised as ease. None of these require catastrophe to fix. They require refusal, daily, boring, relentless refusal.